Hello. And over the past year, there have been one or two discussions taking place behind the scenes, namely about which consoles are really considered special or super systems. I've got my favourites and so have other people. So I thought I'd bring in an expert on the matter. Now, I've flown over to New York to discuss this with my man Dankss. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having me. I'm Dankss, and me and Future Matt 5 here are going to be discussing Battle of the Supersystems. I hope we should teach you a few things and let us know what you think. Here we go. The debate is basically over these 5 systems. Well, 4 systems and a really rare add-on. Matt, why don't you start?
I'm going to pick the DuoR. It's not a system I own, but it's one that I'm quite familiar with. In fact, I don't actually know how to turn it on and how to lift the flaps up. So this is a good sort of beginner's guide. If you like, it's the entry model of the PC Engine family if you want to buy Super CD-ROM games. And I think you'd agree that if you're buying a PC Engine, you've got to get the CD add-on.
Definitely have to get the CD
add-on. It's a question of waiting. You know, I waited about 10 years before I got the CD add-on.
Most people, you know, they start with the Hue cards, but eventually they crave more, you know. Similar to, you know, Sega Genesis with the Sega CD add-on, you know, you got to have more. So that was kind of NEC's answer to prolonging the life of their systems.
Now, we're not using the DuoR, but we are using what my friend here would describe as a badass motherfucking setup, which is a PC Engine LT with a Super CD-ROM briefcase. And the benefits of this setup, as you can see, are a crystal sharp picture.
Now basically, in the back of this, there's going to be an expansion slot, the same expansion slot as this, which is the core graphics. And that expansion slot allows you to hook up any of the PC Engine systems, that the PC Engine, the core graphics 2, any of those. And you could throw them in this setup here and run the CD-ROM to the side.
I'm going to ask you a question, bro. Have you got a Super CD-ROM 2?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Do you want to bring it out?
I'll be right back. So if you don't have the CD-ROM 2, and another option is the Super CD-ROM, the only difference between these two setups here, these two CD-ROMs, is the Supersystem card, which this particular setup requires you to have this in order to run the CD-ROM games. This has that built into it, so this is definitely you know, a more logical. Yeah, this is a more logical decision. You could simply just plug this in like this.
Oh, doesn't that look beautiful?
And with this setup now, you can play CD-ROM games, and you can also just basically pop in a Hue card game. It's got to be Japanese region, and you're off playing Hue cards. So with this setup here, you basically could do everything. It's a nice little compact setup.
Does it make waffles?
It doesn't make waffles, but maybe there's someone out there that could do that. Who knows? I'll let Matt talk about the super graphics here.
Well, again, I'm a newcomer to the Super Graphics. I don't own the system myself, but modelled here is the mother of all setups, really. We've got, this weighs about, what, 10 kilograms?
And also, I mean, we started with the Battle of the Supersystems, but this is definitely a contender, so we're going to bring him into the mix as well.
And this is like, you know, a kind of armory. You could like wear this shit.
He kind of looks
it's like a bulletproof NYPD jacket.
It kind of looks like he's got a six-pack going over here.
And look at this. I mean, listen to that. That's like a... No.
It sounds like butter.
No, the great thing with the Super Graphics, as I'm sure most of you will know, is that this thing packs 16-bit.
Yep.
It's got 2 video chips.
Which allows it to have parallax scrolling.
It's on old Aldines and Darius Alpha and games like that.
Now you might be asking yourself, what is a Super Graphics? Why should I get that? You know, instead of a Core Graphics or a DuoR or any of that kind of stuff. Well, the answer is you really don't need a Super Graphics. There's no difference other than the fact that it did have a better video processor, which allowed it to have, well, NEC planned on having a library of enhanced graphics games similar to like a 32X Genesis Mega Drive setup. But unfortunately it bombed, and they only released, I don't know the exact number, but there's not many. So it bombed, but it's a great looking system. It's personally one of my favorite looking systems out there, and it's just a great setup. This right here, this is the PC Engine LT.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason I got one. This gentleman's PC Engine LT was looking so flush. in this particular setup.
And it was a good move on his part because I mean they are rare, and I don't know anyone else who owns one other than him and me. So I mean, if you have one, leave a comment. We'd love to add you to the club.
Owners club.
Yeah, for real. The LT, I don't know when it came out. Matt, do you?
I think it came out, in terms of the systems, I don't know the year, but it came out roughly the same time as the Core Graphics 2, as you can see from the styling, because you've got the orange and the light grey there. And if you look at the two systems together, you'll notice a lot of similarities.
Right, I do see those.
The Core Graphics 2 was actually released after the briefcase, as we know. This was about 91. Super Graphics was released at the end of the PC Engine setup in about 93, right thereabouts. So we're looking somewhere around 92.
Now, the LT was designed for, I have no idea why, to be honest with you, but it is badass.
Posers, gangsters.
I mean, what other setup have you seen that's similar to this? I mean, it's
an executive gangster. What I find particularly great about this setup is you can use a headphone jack, which of course the Core Graphics does not have, right? So although you only get the one controller port, you get a headphone out, which means that you can hook it up through another sound system or headphones, which is great. It kind of adds to the portability of the system. And for me, it's all in the looks. I mean, this is a beautiful looking system. The graphics are pin sharp. The sound is amazing. Even the control pad works. So for me, that is the ultimate PC Engine.
All right. Moving along here, the next one that I think we should talk about, which is definitely a contender, is going to be the Neo Geo CD.
Right. Tell me about it. I mean, I don't know anything about this system
right.
other than it plays CDs, obviously.
Okay, the Neo Geo CD was released as a last attempt by Neo Geo to allow people to play their CD-based games. Now, the first and second generation Neo Geo CD, which is just the top loader and the front loader, those had extremely slow lens reading speed. A few folks would wait up to a few minutes in order to get the game even loaded, and not only that, but the old systems, like in between fights, you would have to wait for a loading time. So it really killed the enjoyment of the system, and a lot of people really didn't enjoy it.
Is that because people ran out of conversation topics when they were waiting for the games to load?
Basically,
you've got to say, I'm going to kick your fucking ass in a minute.
You literally could drink a whole entire beer before the game is done even loading. So the one thing that I really like about this system is the CD tray. When you put it in, it clicks, and then basically to pull it out, you could pop it and it'll pop right out. So you're not putting a lot of strain on the drive. So they really upgraded it with a faster drive and a better locking mechanism. Basically, it's got an open button and a power button, 2 controller ports, and the one thing that they upgraded highly is the S-Video out. So for us in America who don't have RGB like my English friend here, which really upgrades the picture. Playing it on an S-Video monitor really looks nice. It's got your stereo out and your regular power. Now, this thing does have a few negatives. It has an overheating issue which will cause it to fail. I actually have 2 of these because one of them doesn't work, and they're very pricey and very rare. So, I mean, just like all systems, there's negatives, but
tell me some like ultimate must-have games then for the CDZ.
Well, Viewpoint definitely.
Next up.
But that's actually playing on the FM Marty, which we'll talk about in a minute.
We'll come to that in a minute.
It's got all the metal slugs for the most part. It also has, World Hero, Samurai Showdown, Real Bout, Fatal Fury, all that good stuff. It doesn't have every single Neo Geo AES game, but it also has a few exclusive titles that were never released on the arcade or the AES. So this would be the only way to play those type of games. Samurai Showdown RPG. The other thing that it came with is a really cool control pad, which I sadly don't have in front of me. I wish I did. It would take me probably like 2 minutes to find it, so I don't really want to go digging. But they made a unique control pad for a thumbstick with a thumbstick, and it's just to lower the price because the AES was released with arcade sticks. So to lower the price, they released it with regular controllers, and they're really cool actually. So one of my favorite controllers. But we'll save that for another battle.
So for those of you that are familiar with the PC Engine hardware library, you'll know that the DuoR, and indeed the RX, came with a peripheral known as the Duo monitor, which we have modelled here. Now, the Duo monitor effectively made the PC Engine DuoR a portable setup, because you could also get a battery compartment, which I believe is pretty rare.
And not only that, but it has a battery you could put right in here, AA batteries, so you don't even really need that.
So you could just take this thing out in the car with you, take it down the beach.
I mean, yes, it's ginormous, but one could argue it is definitely possible.
Why would you want to do that?
Because I'm an addict. A PC Engine addict.
If you do go down this road, what you will find is that it's a pretty damn good picture. Now, I'm not sure if this video camera is going to pick it up nicely, but it's comparable to the LT picture, wouldn't you say? Overall, it's comparable.
Definitely.
It's not quite as sharp, because what you've got going into it is an AV, which is a shitty composite signal. Having said that, the picture looks a lot better than a composite would look on a normal TV. Wouldn't you say? Or an LCD anyway. It looks a load better than an LCD.
Definitely.
So if if you've got a PC Engine DuoR and you're not happy with the picture you're getting from an LCD, well, buy a CRT basically. If you've got about £600 to spare, however many $100 that is, buy one of these.
When this thing, real quick, I'm sorry. When this thing came out, I believe it was over $1,000. I don't know though for sure, but I know it was highly pricey and seriously only for the rich and famous. And luckily, it's less than that now, but not that much.
So do you want to just quickly show us the features?
Sure. First thing we have here is a switch that I don't know what it does. I guess nothing. I don't know.
Normal search. Oh, that's probably the TV.
Oh, yeah, that's for the TV. Okay, so if we go to this one here, you can switch it. Over here, you have an antenna.
Sweet.
That comes out.
Horizontal or vertical?
To about 20 feet. And you could bring it up like that. And it would pretty much be pointless because there's no signal to be searching for here in America. But if you were in Japan, I'm pretty sure you could definitely still use this.
And the other thing is, of course, with the design, and this is where it came in pretty clever, was that you've got this overhang at the top, which of course protects it from getting glare off the screen.
Definitely,
right?
it kind of gives like a little bit of a canopy, which kind of gives it like a shadow, a dark overlay, so that way you're not really getting too much sunlight, which is nice. You also have a mode button here. Let's start from here. You also have a tint knob that you could turn and kind of adjust your tint.
Oh, that's actually affecting the picture.
Yep,
you probably can't see that.
Yep, you could change it to
Cool.
you
So
think
it's kind of going purple and green and turquoise.
Yep, and then you have a mode button here, which allows you to adjust the brightness. You also have your color adjustment.
So actually, this has got one thing over the LT, and that's that you can actually tweak the picture.
And it's digital, which is a lot different than the analog knobs, which the LT has. It also it mimics the color that's on the the PC Engine DuoR on and off button. Same teal button that the Duo uses. So they kind of use the same tradition, but it also runs with the purple that the Turbo Duo has. So it's a really nice kind of blended system between the Turbo Duo, the PC Engine DuoR. Kind of works out nice. It's kind of a nice pleasure between both worlds there. Also features a little knob here which you use to open it, which is pretty cool, kind of
Very
futuristic
nice.
for its time. I mean, and also it shuts off when you close it. So right now it's off. Turn it on, and it kicks back on automatically when you pop it open. So
That's clever.
That's pretty interesting considering this thing's from the early to mid '90s, in my opinion.
Is that a speaker below there I can see, by the way? Was that some sort of heat sink?
It appears to be the speaker.
Can we get some sound coming through this?
Absolutely.
Let's listen, because the other great test, of course, is the LT speaker is good. It's loud.
And that is definitely the speaker back there.
Yeah. And that sounds good. That sounds really nice.
Definitely.
Can we just hear that dying sound again?
At the moment, I don't know. What do you think the rarest one is for the contender? I don't know.
I would say of all the ones we've looked at so far, I'd say the LT has still got a long it's way ahead of the competition at the moment.
I'm gonna have to say that as well, only because of the fact that it's basically this with the system built in, so you don't have to worry about all that extra luggage. You got it all built into this tiny little system here.
Could you mind just clearing that core graphics from the setup? It's not rare enough.
But yeah, I mean, this is the whole entire system. I mean, this thing is so small for its time. It's so sexy. I mean, it's definitely the most attractive system ever created on Earth. I mean, this is definitely maybe perhaps the leader right now in the rare contenders for the Supersystems. Alright, now the next thing we're going to talk about is the FM Towns Marty. But before we do, it appears that my dog over here has a system that he wants to include for some reason in this battle. So, I don't know. Let's take a look at what he's got here. What do you got there, man? What is it? What? The JVC X-Eye?
Oh, dog.
You really like this one, huh, bro? Alright, so apparently my dog, I don't know, he's got a thing for the JVC X-Eye, so...
It smells like meat, that's probably why.
Definitely smells like meat. The JVC XEye is definitely a contender. I could definitely see why he suggests we talk about it.
It's kind of dog shaped though, isn't it? It's got a bit of dog going on, like those big round buttons are like...
But the JVC XEye came out, I don't know, is there a date on this thing? No. I'm guessing mid-90s. But basically it's an all-in-one attempt made by JVC. It's got the Sega Genesis and the Sega CD, and it's not an all-in-one because it's missing the 32X. So it's just a dual.
Can we do a quick
setup
check before you explain the dynamics of the system? Right. I'm just going to give it a squeeze because if you just hold the weight, listen to that. That's the sound you get from squeezing a JVC. That's a kind of. Okay. Right. We're going to try the same on the CDZ. So I've got a feeling. It's tight, right?
Definitely.
I mean, I'm not putting this on. That doesn't. I mean, obviously the doors. Yeah, the door makes a bit of noise.
Yeah, but this thing.
That's right. It's a bit cheaper.
Basically, what Matt's trying to say is this thing was probably built on a very tight budget.
Yep.
For sure. I mean, you could tell just by feeling it. It doesn't feel that strong.
It's like a Genesis with a hard-on.
Yeah, basically a Genesis with a hard-on.
Can you mod it to get S-Video?
You could mod it to get S-Video. The JVC Wondermega, which was the Japanese version, used the exact same shell. And you can actually tell here if you do a close-up where they plugged the S-Video hole.
Oh, yeah.
So if you follow this lead, you can actually find the traces to tap into the S-Video. It's very easy. So this is a very easy moddable system to get S-Video out of.
Sweet. Graphics, right, from the system. So we start with the JVC XI. Graphics out of 10.
Out of a 10, I would give the JVC XI a 6.
A 6 out of 10 for the XI. And for the Neo Geo?
The Neo Geo, considering it's got S-Video and it's just a great system, I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8, okay. And then finally the DuoR.
The DuoR, considering the fact that it doesn't have S-Video out and I'm in America having to use composite, I'm going to have to give this a 7, right in between the Neo Geo and the XI.
That's fair. Okay, what about games library then? Going back to the XI.
Well, the games library, the XI has a huge games library. It has the full Genesis library along with the full Sega CD library. So you're looking at a huge bang for your buck as far as playability goes.
Okay, so
I would give the game library on the JVC XI a 9.
a 9. That's pretty high. Game library for the Neo Geo.
The Neo Geo CDZ is not looking too good with the game library. We're looking at roughly, I would say, I don't know, 80, maybe 80 titles. Although all of them are
good titles, though.
Although yes, they are all excellent titles with perfect arcade ports next to the fact.
We all know that is not. You can't say that for the.
Correct.
The Genesis,
you can't. But for the Genesis, you have way over 80 games. So
yeah,
one could argue that their library potentially is better.
Sure.
But for the hardcore arcade fanatics, they would probably give this around an 8 or a 9 for the library. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Just because there's only around 80 titles.
Okay, and then the machine in the corner there, DuoR.
The DuoR has probably a larger library than the Genesis and Sega CD library combined. So this one's gonna get a 10 in my book right off the bat.
A 10.
But at least
no fucking. There's no prejudice. That's not a.
It's getting a 10.
It's not skewed. That's an honest 10, right?
Honest fucking 10,
Fucking
right?
10 out of 10. Right. Okay.
I'd give it a more if I could, but we're staying on a 10 scale.
Okay, so that was a quick roundup of the sort of main rare systems from the 90s. Now we've left the most controversial to the last, which is the FM Towns Marty. by Fujitsu, made in roughly, when was it?
93.
So this is potentially starting from a higher baseline. And maybe it, you know, could have been great, this one. Well, was it great?
No and yes.
Which order?
I'm gonna have to give it a yes no on that one.
Okay.
First thing I can tell you is this was the very first 32-bit CD-based system to ever grace planet Earth. And not only that, but the game library is ginormous on this particular system.
We're looking at Viewpoint, by the way, which
Yeah.
is a perfect conversion, pretty much, would you say?
Definitely, definitely.
And the same could be said with quite a few other ports, right?
For sure, for sure.
He's done some fucking good games on that.
Definitely. All their arcade ports are top-notch, perfect. Some of them cost more than the actual real game that was made for the arcade. The game library is pretty strong because it allowed you to play all the games released on the FM Towns PC. Now, the FM Towns PC was a computer released in Japan that went up against NEC's home-based computer. So they were basically battling it out for the computers. And both of them had a nice library of games you could play. Now, FM Towns and NEC both came out with home-based systems, but FM Towns decided to make theirs basically a consoleized PC. So this thing has pretty much a full backwards compatibility of their PC games. Not fully compatible, but a lot of them.
What would you say about the FM Towns Marty 1 versus the Towns Marty 2?
The only difference, in my opinion, is the color. Some people argue that it had more memory, but I've done a lot of research, and some people say that's true. Other people say it's completely false, and it was just an attempt to milk more money out of the industry. So I'm going to just say that they were the exact same system, just pretty much a more sexy color.
What are the prices difference?
Well, the FM Towns Marty is probably going to run you around $350, and the FM Towns Marty 2 is going to be significantly more, probably around the $450 range, so maybe $500 range for that system.
Two same outputs?
Exact same everything.
Okay.
Nothing different but the color. These are two different controllers.
Okay.
One is for the FM PC and one's for the FM Towns Marty, but this one does have a bumper button, so you can see a little bit of a difference there. But definitely what I'm trying to say is a positive for this system is the controller. It's got a really nice boomerang feel, and it's one of my favorite controllers ever created for any system on Earth, period. I really like it. Now, the one thing that FM Towns does have is S-Video out, so you're going to get crisp graphics with this system. Also has stereo and composite, and you know.
Oh, that's nice.
And the other thing that's nice is it uses just a regular
kettle plugs.
yeah, so you don't have to try to dig through your stuff looking for a special
That
brick.
helps, yeah.
It really does, because a lot of these systems, they go.
So tell us about the disk drive.
That's another thing. It has a disk drive, which tends to fail like the Famicom disk system, but you know, a little bit of elbow grease, you could get that thing up and running.
And what's that keyboard? There's a keyboard extension too.
Correct. They did have a keyboard
Okay.
extension because this system was really modeled off of a PC, but just basically it's a PC shoved into a system box. So it's got your keyboard, you know, your floppy
Like the same
drive.
chassis, right?
Right. So it's basically a PC in a sense, which is really cool to own and really rare. You know, if you go on eBay, you type in Geo CD, you're going to probably find one or two. You type in a DuoR, you're probably going to find one or two. Even a PC Engine LT, possibly.
Yeah.
They're coming up quite often lately.
There's quite a lot.
This right here, you're never going to find on eBay unless you look every day, and you might find one once every year. But this right here, you can go on eBay, you're not going to see one, and if you do, it's going to be highly priced.
You're on eBay, and you know you see one of these. You see a Duo monitor for $300. What would you do?
Buy it.
Buy it.
I would ask him if he has more than one, and I would probably buy all of them.
Okay, you go on eBay and you find a PC Engine LT with 2 dead pixels going for $500. What would you do?
I would sleep on it, to say the least. PC Engine LTs tend to have dead pixels. Mine has 2. And, you know, honestly, it just gives it character. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, for its age and the technology they were pushing, dead pixels should be, you know, expected. You know, you're getting PSPs that have dead pixels now, and we're in 2011.
So give it some slack, basically, on the dead
Give it a
pixel
lot of
front.
slack. And for $500, if you have it, spend it. If not, shoot them an offer, or you know, hold out. Maybe you could get one for a little bit cheaper, but probably not much. Don't hold your breath. I'd
Okay.
probably buy it.
You go on eBay, you find an XEye with a dog shit in the CD compartment for $100. What do you do?
Dog shit in the CD
Oh,
compartment?
hang on a minute. There is dog shit in the CD.
There is dog Destruction in the CD department. What the hell is this? $100? I'm gonna buy it.
$100 you'll buy it. Okay. Now in the corner here, this is a system that
That was funny.
that was a system that doesn't come up very often on eBay, right? This one is rare. A CD-ROM, Super CD-ROM 2.
$150 I'd pay.
It's a funny one because you get it, you don't have to worry about the system card. You get it, you know you can hook it up with your LT.
Matt actually has done the mod, and you know, just
I recommend it.
yeah, and not only that, but look at these two systems. It kind of looks like they belong together, like
does.
Bonnie and Clyde. You know, like the gray is on point, and it's just.
Oh, it just wants to go in.
It sure does. It just wants to go in.
Whack a Johnny on it.
Let it go in. Let it go in.
$200.
That would be max $200.
And finally, I think the DuoR as a kind of an entry into the world of PC Engine. A lot of people watching this will probably think of going for one of those first off, right? Because you don't need to buy the add-ons, you don't need fucking RAU30s, you don't need a super graphics. You just go straight in, one system. It's got the CD tray. I still don't know where the fucking button is. And it's got the Hue card slot. So in a way, it's an all-in-one. What would you pay max on this?
$235.
$235. Okay. So
That's boxed.
Yeah.
It's got to be boxed for that price.
yeah.
The DuoR is much more common, but as far as it being a contender, I definitely can see that happening just because of the power it packs. The one thing about the DuoR versus the PC Engine Duo is it's a lot more reliable. The PC Engine Duo was built in a time when the world was suffering from really crappy components that it was built with. A lot of components were having that issue. Sega Game Gear, PC Engine Duo, Turbo Express, PC Engine GT, all this shit came with messed up components. Bad capacitors, exactly. And luckily this came out right after that issue, so this is a much more reliable system than its predecessors, and it's got the same power all built into one system. So if you don't want this and you don't want all this, you could just simply buy this and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so thanks for watching. That concludes our Battle of the Supersystems. The Super CD-ROM 2, the FM Towns Marty, the JVC X-Eye, the Neo Geo CD, the Neo Geo Nothing, the PC Engine LT, the Neo Geo CDZ, the NEC PC Engine Dual Monitor LCD,
The PC Engine Super Graphics.
PC Engine Super Graphics, and the PC Engine DuoR. So, what do you think the rarest and most super system out of all of them is? Your comments are definitely welcome. So please leave them. You know, real quickly, let's go over some close contenders that didn't make it to this video. The Turbo Graphics with the CD-ROM add-on sadly did not make it.
Would you buy a console?
Yeah. Matt brings up a very good point. I would buy this console just because of how happy this kid looks. I mean, he looks
I got Turbo Graphics for Christmas.
he looks so happy. Next system that sadly didn't make it is the NEC Turbo Duo.
Could have made it because it actually looks quite cute, that one.
Yeah, it could have made it. And the last one,
Oh, controversial.
the controversial PCFX. So yeah, those systems sadly didn't make it.
Too much hentai, not enough shmups.
Yup. All right,
From stateside,
from the United States, baby.
this video is now shut its load.
Thanks for watching.